Hi, I'm Marlene, and today is the 2nd of November, and we are in Fiske Terrace right now, or also Midwood, which is a neighborhood in Brooklyn. This is a historical neighborhood, and there are many Victorian houses here. This is one of the reasons why I am actually here, and that intrigued me so much that I decided that I wanted to capture this area on film. This video is actually the second episode of my Frame by Frame Photowalks series, where I'm basically taking you with me on how I'm going to take photos, and I'm going to share my experiences, especially my learning experience, because I am still new to this, and in general just take you with me out while I'm shooting film. I have a playlist on this channel where I will add all of the future episodes that I'm going to make from the series, so you are welcome to check this out because my first episode is already out and that one was in Coney Island, and I think that it is really worth checking out because I got some really nice photos from that one. I've actually never seen anyone photograph Fiske Terrace, especially not on film. And I gathered that it's a really unknown area, like Midwood and Fiske Terrace, even though it's like one of the richest neighborhoods apparently here in Brooklyn. And it's a really pleasant neighborhood, and they have really nice houses. And that is why I'm mainly here today, because I want to capture the whole vibe of the neighborhood and the houses, because personally I'm a lover of Victorian architecture and I love these kind of houses a lot. I have my Canon A1 with me today again, and I already put a film of Kodak Gold 200 in it. It is my favorite film to shoot because it's available, it is not that expensive, and I just love the warmth and the colors that come out of this film. One difference that I have today is that I've been shooting, I think, my past two films, I have a skylight filter on my lens. I wanted to try out the difference between the ones that I shoot without and the ones I shoot with. I wanted to experiment a little, and as usual I have my 35 to 70mm lens. I think that despite Kodak Gold being my favorite consumer film, it is perfect to capture the warm light that we have today and also the overall vibe of the neighborhood, because I think that this warm color that the film actually produces is really nice for this area. Also, I'm really excited to do this photo walk because it is a little bit more empty than other areas, and it is easier for me to just set up my camera and also talk to the camera and just getting used to this whole thing in general. And today is actually like the perfect day. It's kind of fresh today, the temperature is a little cold, you know, but it's November, it's allowed to be like that. But the sun is really gorgeous. I've actually been out today for quite a while already. I was in Botanical Garden and finished a roll that was already in my camera, and now we're starting a new one here in Fiske Terrace. Today I also want to do a little bit more slow photography because I'm someone who is taking photos usually more spontaneously, or I always think I have to be quick because I want to do more street, or I like to do street in a way. But I really want to try and think more about compositions and the slow process, because film in general is just a slow medium to work with. So I think that it kind of fits. And I also want to use this as an exercise to become more aware of the photography that I'm doing. And that is also why I brought my tripod with me today. Another thing that I want to practice more is light metering. Not again. Oh. The subway always drives by. I only have like a thin window of time to film this without any noise. But light metering is not, I'm not very familiar with that yet. I tried it a little bit while I was in Coney Island actually, and it worked out pretty good. Because usually, as I said, I'm shooting more spontaneous, and especially when you do street photography, you usually just have one setting that fits a general field of scenes or light situations, and then you just shoot your shot, right? But in this case, doing solo photography, you kind of want to light meter. And my inspiration for this are especially photographers who document the suburban life in America. I've seen a lot of these images and they're really inspiring to me, so I kind of want to take that as an inspiration and also an orientation of what I'm doing today. The light meter actually showed me like something between 130 and 160. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm trying to do both. Actually, it showed me, sometimes it did show me like a 1/10 of a second or a 25th of a second. But as I said, it's usually trying to underexpose, but I like to overexpose, so we're gonna do two, one at 30 and one at 60.
When we look at the two photos in comparison, we can clearly see that the left one is kind of overexposed and the right one, which has a longer shutter speed, is underexposed. That's also what kind of causes the lost detail in the shadows and also the haziness of the image. And for me, I think that the overexposure actually works better, and we can clearly see that when we look at it in post-processing. Here I made this comparison for you. So on the left we can see the 1/30th of a second unedited version, and on the right we have the 1/60th of a second, and in the middle we can see that I edited the 1/30th, and I was clearly able to still use the shadow details to my advantage and lower the exposure manually in Lightroom. But when I tried editing the underexposed image, I was actually not really able to get rid of the haziness or enhance the shadows. So from this I learned that overexposing is better than underexposing, and it reduces the risk of having these blown out and hazy shadows that I actually have quite a few times in this role. But a lot of times I was also able to dehaze them in Lightroom, so the final outcomes are not as bad.
For this one, the light meter now shows 1/50th of a second, so we're gonna do 160 because my camera does not have 150.
I really like this photo, not only because the light here looked really amazing, but also because of the colors that are kind of repetitive throughout the image, which overall makes this a really pretty composition.
This shot right here I actually took at 1/8th of a second, which the light meter told me. We will see how that turns out, but most of the time the light meter actually shows me really slow shutter speeds. Usually, right? Normally when I shot film, I always went I had a point and shoot, right? It's doing that thing automatically. But also with this one, the first roll that I shot, I think I had like f8, 125 of a second shutter speed, and that's where I rolled with it, and the shots turned out fine. So I'm excited to see how it impacts my photos when I light meter. Okay, so I just had an idea. I really like this composition here with the subway tracks and everything, and I know that the subway is coming by here frequently, like every few minutes. I think I'm gonna wait a little because the next one is supposed to arrive soon, I'm pretty sure. I'm just gonna set my camera at f8, 125, and then we're good. I think that it's weird to like walk around with a tripod, because I think people they notice you more when you walk around with like a 1.5 meter tripod in your arms, because I don't want to set it down and set it up every time, so I just walk around with it, right? But it's kind of weird, but I'm just a girl, I'm just a photographer, especially in this kind of neighborhood that is really, really silent and really peaceful. I don't know, because personally I'm someone who looks out of their window all the time, and if I would see a random girl setting up their tripod in front of my house, I would also be like, what are you doing there? So there's a little behind the scenes what I'm thinking of why I'm taking a picture. I actually walked into the street and I didn't think that I could find a composition, but I really like this one because you can see that the house is in general really like blue beige, but then it has these red lines, and you can also find the red in the sign and in the car that is parking in front. So I really like this as like a little highlight, and I'm trying to make like a nice composition up of it. Okay, so the light meter told me to photograph this scene at 1/20 of a second, but I shot it at 1:15 because, again, I want to learn to do overexposure instead of underexposure, so we're gonna see how that actually turns out.
I think that this shot turned out pretty good. I think that it is pretty simple, honestly, but I do like the subtle details that I was also aiming for, and in that case it did come out as I imagined it.
The sun is actually going to start setting in like 1.5 hours. I'm trying to make my rounds through the neighborhood, just trying to capture the light because I can already see that it's kind of going towards the roofs of the houses, and mostly only one side of the street is lit.
I took this photo specifically because I really like the difference between the car and the houses in the back. I think that a lot of the houses in this neighborhood actually look very rich or very taken care of. And then we have this car which looks totally dirty and kind of wrecked in the front. And I just like the comparison between those two.
This is literally one of my dreams when I see this house, because someone is renovating it, right? I mean, a company probably does that. But oh, what I wish I could buy a house here and renovate it. The dream. One thing that I noticed about this neighborhood today is that it feels so suburban, even though it's in the middle of Brooklyn. It's literally in the middle of Brooklyn, and I think that is really an overseen gem. Like, there are so many gorgeous houses here that I think, especially film photographers, would absolutely love. And this is just the historical district. I think that Midwood itself does have a lot more to offer than just Fiske Terrace and the historical district in general. The light is pretty much gone now. The little light that is left is really on top of the roofs, and there's not really that much exciting to shoot for me there. So I will leave it at that. My roll is almost full. I have like a few frames left, I think like, I don't know, 4 or 5, and I will probably just wing them while I am going home. But I think that it was a really successful day, and I had tons of fun actually using my tripod for once in a while. And I also really like working with the light meter and everything, and I'm really looking forward to how the pictures actually turn out, because I think they might be really nice. In general, I hope that I just captured the kind of small town suburban America vibe. To every film photographer who is watching that and who is in New York and who likes to shoot these kind of scenes and these kind of areas, and you haven't been here yet, like, go here. Go here. It's so quiet, it's so peaceful, like, it's so nice. And especially during autumn. I think it's probably also great during spring and summer. Not sure about winter, but maybe they do have some nice Christmas decorations out here. Next episode of this series is actually gonna be in a totally completely different city than New York. And it is another city on the East Coast, so maybe you can guess which one it is, but I'm just saying, I've heard that it has one of the best autumn foliage. Just keep an eye out on the playlist too, don't miss that one, because I think that it will be a treat. If you made it until now and you like my photography and you want to see more of it, don't hesitate to look by my portfolio or even my Instagram, which is linked in the description. You can go there and check it out if you'd like, and I would really appreciate the support. I will hopefully see you on the next vlog. And until then, bye!